So, how do you find information online these days? Chances are you probably still punch some keywords into a search bar. Yeah.
That's still common, sure.
But think about it. Or just look around. Are people starting to, ask questions more, talking to their phones, typing into chatbots?
Definitely. And the sources we've looked at, they're suggesting that old way, the keyword search, it's changing really fast.
Yeah, and not just a little tweak, right? This sounds like a huge shift.
It's being framed as a fundamental transformation, honestly, all driven by AI, and it demands a totally new way of thinking about being visible online.
Okay, so that's what we're diving into today, this idea called Answer Engine Optimization, AEO. It's being positioned as this crucial pivot away from traditional SEO, search engine optimization because of how AI is rising.
Exactly. And we get some great material here. Insights from Rodrigo Wielhouwer, but also, crucially, some really practical perspectives from Nishith Srivastava at Tech Mahindra.
Right, he's got a lot of background in digital transformation, customer experience. This seems like the right person to listen to on this.
Definitely brings that practical edge.
So our mission today, let's try to figure out why this shift is such a big deal, what AEO actually means in practice, according to these guys.
What you actually do.
What you do, yeah. And really important, what does this mean for you listening? Because this isn't just for marketers, is it?
No, understanding this helps you understand how information is going to, reach you in the future.
Okay, so the big picture. What's the scale of this change they're talking about?
Well, one thing that really jumps out is this Gartner forecast. They're predicting a 25% drop in traffic volume to traditional search engines.
Whoa, hang on. 25%?
Yeah, a quarter of the traffic. And get this, by 2026.
That's really soon. A quarter less traffic just going to the standard search results page.
Exactly. And the sources directly link that to AI chatbots becoming more popular. People aren't just getting better search results. They might be skipping the results page altogether.
So they're moving from searching keywords
to asking questions.
Yeah.
Conversational questions put to AI platforms.
Right. And this is where Nishith Srivastava really clarifies things, isn't it? He has this great quote distinguishing AEO from SEO.
He nails it. He says, users no longer search in the traditional sense.
Yeah.
They ask. And that pivot demands a new kind of strategy, i.e. Answer Engine Optimization, AEO. It's not just about ranking anymore. It's about responding.
Not just about ranking anymore. It's about responding. That feels like the core change right there.
It flips the whole model.
Yeah, SEO is like climbing a ladder, trying to get to the top rank. AEO sounds more like being the direct source the AI goes to for the answer.
And he's pretty blunt about what happens if you don't adapt. He says, and this is another quote, if you're not optimizing for answers, you're invisible.
Invisible.
He literally says AEO flips the SEO playbook.
Okay, invisible. That's powerful, because if these AI assistants are just pulling answers directly and your stuff isn't set up to be that answer,
you just don't get seen. You're not cited. You don't exist in that new flow of information.
So you're not just optimizing for Google anymore. You're optimizing for the AI that sits on top of Google or maybe bypasses it.
Kind of. You're optimizing for the user's need, but as interpreted and served up by an AI. Which brings us to the big question.
Right.
Okay, how?
Right. If being visible means optimizing for answers, what are the actual steps? What does Nishith Srivastava recommend?
Well, he breaks it down into a few key areas. And interestingly, the first one isn't really technical. It's about mindset.
Mindset, okay.
Yeah, shifting your goal. Moving from just trying to rank high to actually resolving the user's question or the problem they have.
Okay, resolving, not just ranking. And he has this phrase, own the question space. I like that. What does that mean exactly?
It's about flipping your perspective, Okay. Stop thinking just about the keywords you care about for your brand and start thinking, what are the actual questions people are asking? What information do they really need? He points out most users have a specific information need, and that's what you need to target.
So change the story you're telling.
Precisely. He says, change your AEO narrative from about your brand to benefits and purpose for the user.
Because if your content isn't built to answer,
then, as he puts it, it's built to be ignored.
Built to be ignored. Ouch. That's the flip side of invisible, isn't it? Your content might be out there, but if the AI can't easily use it to answer a question, poof, useless in this context.
Functionally useless, yeah.
Okay, so mindset first. Focus on resolving needs. own the questions people are asking. How does that translate into like the actual content, the words on the page, the structure?
Right. This is about making your content digestible for AI. It means optimizing for answers within the content, not just sprinkling in keywords.
So less keyword stuffing, more actual answer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And thinking about how it's structured, how it's tagged semantically, how it gets served up to things like voice assistants or those AI chat interfaces, or even those zero-click results where the answer appears right on the search page.
Ah, okay. So it's about making it super easy for the machine to understand and pull out the relevant bit. He talks about content audits, right? Looking at content specifically for Q&A formats.
Yes, auditing for clarity, relevance, and structuring it in what he calls snippet-ready formats.
Snippet ready. Like,
Think about what an AI needs. It needs clear, concise, structured information it can grab quickly.
bullet points, tables.
Exactly. Bullet points, tables, step-by-step guides, things that are easy to scan and pull out a specific piece of information from. You're basically packaging the answer for the AI.
Makes sense. Okay, so that's content structure. Then he gets into the more technical side, doesn't he? Structured data, schema markup, entity modeling.
Yeah, the technical underpinnings. Let's break that down a bit. Schema markup is basically like adding special labels to your content that machines can read universally.
Labels?
Yeah, like telling the search engine or AI explicitly, this part is an FAQ. This is the cooking time for this recipe. This is the price of this product. It removes ambiguity.
So you're not just hoping the AI figures it out, you're telling it what's what.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And entity-based modeling builds on that. An entity is just a specific thing or concept, the person, place, brand, idea.
Okay.
Entity modeling is about organizing your content around these core concepts and showing the relationships between them. How does A relate to B?
Ah, okay. So it's like drawing a map of your knowledge for the AI, showing how everything connects.
That's a great way to put it. And it ties directly into leveraging knowledge graphs, another point he makes, by using structured data to clearly define your entities and connections.
You build authority.
You build authority and relevance on those topics within the knowledge graph, which AI systems increasingly rely on. It builds trust.
Got it. And he also links this back to understanding the audience journey, right? Mapping intent.
Yeah, mapping intent across the whole journey. He stresses aligning content with conversational queries. So prioritizing the how, why, when questions.
Not just what is.
Right. Because people ask different questions as they learn more. You need answers ready for all stages. What is AEO? Is just the start. Then it's, how do I implement schema? Or why does this matter for my business?
And things like FAQ schema directly help with that, I guess, making those common questions super visible to AI.
Exactly. It flags those Q&As clearly.
And he mentions tone, too, right? Adopting a conversational tone.
Yeah, which makes sense, especially for voice search and AI assistants. If the AI pulls your content, you want it to sound natural when read aloud or incorporated into a generated answer.
Less like a textbook, more like helpful advice.
Makes the whole interaction feel more human. And one last piece on the practical side, especially for bigger organizations, natural language generation, NLG.
NLG, how does that fit in?
Well, NLG tech can actually create human-like text from structured data. Imagine you have a huge database of product specs or financial data.
Okay.
NLG can automatically generate descriptions, summaries, or even answers to common questions based on that data. It helps scale the creation of accurate, trustworthy answers that AI tools value.
Ah, so it's a way to efficiently create lots of specific answers if you have the underlying data structured well.
Exactly. It helps ensure you have comprehensive coverage.
Okay, wow. That's quite a list of practical steps from Nishith Srivastava. So, recapping. Mindset shift, first resolve, don't just rank. Own the questions.
Change the narrative to user benefits.
Right. Then, content structure, optimize for answers, make it snippet ready.
Use the tech layer structured data, schema, entity modeling. Build that knowledge map.
Map the user's conversational journey, answer the hows and whys, use a conversational tone.
Leverage knowledge graphs, integrate FAQs, and maybe use NLG to scale it all up.
That is a fundamental change from just find keywords, write blog posts.
It really is. It touches everything from strategy to content to the tech stack.
Okay, let's pause there for a second. Let's bring it back to you, the listener. Why does all this matter if you're, say, not a marketer or a web developer? Why should you care about AEO?
Well, because this is fundamentally about how information finds its way to you. When you ask Siri or Alexa or a chatbot a question, the answer you get back isn't pulled out of thin air. It's being constructed, often using content from sources that have done a good job with these AEO principles.
Right. So understanding AEO helps you understand why you get the answers you do, why some information gets surfaced by AI and some doesn't.
Exactly. It gives you insight into the new mechanics of information visibility. It helps you be, I guess, a more critical consumer of the information served up by AI.
Knowing that it's not just a neutral summary of everything, but often based on sources optimized to be the answer.
Precisely. These aren't just random bits of text glued together.
So wrapping this up then, this shift to answer engine optimization, it's not just a small update.
No, it's fundamental. Driven by AI, yes, but also by how we are changing our behavior moving from searching to asking.
And success in this new landscape seems to hinge on optimizing for providing direct, authoritative answers, focusing relentlessly on what the user actually needs to know.
That's the core of it.
Okay, so final thought then, something for you to chew on. As these AI assistants and chatbots become maybe our primary way to get quick answers, what does that mean for discovering new things? You know, that serendipity you sometimes got scrolling through pages of search results, maybe finding something interesting you weren't even looking for?
That's a great question. Does the direct, curated answer limit that kind of discovery?
How might your own habits for finding information keep changing as these direct answers become the norm? Something to think about.